All right, so the key problem that people have in terms of models, right? The problem that we have is there's so many options out there. How are we going to model our business? Most of you on this line are coaches, right? But how are we going to model our coaching business, our services business, whatever our business is, how are we going to best model it? And then what people do is they find a guru and they get super excited. This is great. It's working. Or it's working for them, so I'm going to, see, that works for Taki. That's black belt. I'm just going to go and copy that. And so we get the excitement. We see something's working. We want to just go grab that. But there's a problem with that because it, for some reason, doesn't work for you. Right? We know it works because it's working for someone, but it just doesn't work for you. And that moves from frustration, though, through to the resignation of, well, maybe it's never going to work. Maybe this just isn't right for me. Maybe I'm not cut out to do this thing. They're the key problems. Is this ringing any bells with anyone at all? Hopefully it is, right? And the main lesson we have here is it's the model, right? Just before you try and copy other people, you need to not copy what you see people doing. You need to copy the thinking. You need to leverage the thinking. I'm going to teach you that today. I'm going to show you how to do that. And we have in the mixing desk that we're going to get to in a minute, there's 12 items of the mixing desk. We're going to go through that together. Not right now, soon, in a second, but we're going to do that together, right? And so the 3 hot principles is, and this first one is so important, and it's so easy to understand as well, is number 1, fit your own mask first. Taki's on a plane right now. You guys, most of you, if not all of you, have been on a plane. You know that they tell you in the safety instructions, first of all, put your own mask on before you help others around you. What this means, the analogy here is that your clients are your children in this instance. And the airline will say, put your own mask on and then put the children's mask on. What we're saying to you is design your model around you first, not your children, aka clients. Because a lot of people will build their model around what they think their clients want and then wonder why they start building themselves one really horrible business that just drives them up the wall. So you want to be building a business centered around you first. Children/client second. Okay? That's the really key thing. Fit your own mask first. Number 2 is play to your strengths. Now that we know we can center our business around ourselves, what are we really good at? Now, are you a great speaker? Great. Then do a lot more speaking on stage. You see all this wonderful whizzy technology stuff? Great. But if that's not your strength, focus on where your strengths are. Writing. Be a writer if you love writing. Taki and I were talking about this specifically, and he shared the example with me that when he started his business, he was following a mentor at the time, which was Dan Kennedy. Now, Dan Kennedy, some of you may know him, some of you may not. Dan Kennedy is very successful, very smart cookie. He's built his whole business around being sat in his room. He only communicates with people via fax or via telephone. He's literally not on the internet. And he writes. And he's a prolific writer. He's a very good writer. He's a very good copywriter as well as just a general writer. He writes newsletters and puts information out there. Taki saw this and went, I just want to be like Dan. So he was copying a guru and copying a model because it worked. And he wrote and he wrote and he built a business, the coach marketing machine he built around writing information and sending information out. But he got to a point where he said, you know what? This isn't me. This isn't who I love to be. And from a perspective of being right, for Taki said, hold on, I love to work with people. I love to be on stage. I love to see the impact in people's eyes when they get the aha moment. And that's when he put more of his heart and soul, pretty much all of his heart and soul, into black belt. He created Black Belt for that pure reason of that is the business he wanted to deliver first and foremost, to play to his strengths, to help more people in the world at a Black Belt level, right? So that's what Taki did. And the question for you as well is what, instead of following other people, other gurus of what they're great at, what are you really good at? Let's model the thinking and let's apply it to your strengths, right? And then third, out of the 3 hot principles, is set your mix. Now this is where my DJing takes over, and this is the most, well, they're all important, but this is the part now where you're going to get to define your mix. All right? So let's grab the workbook. I'm going to switch over to the workbook with our views. Let me go find the view very quickly and switch to workbook. Now you should all see my workbook. Just need one person to say, yes, you can see my workbook, and then I know we're cooking on gas. Thank you, Paula. Thank you. Got loads of people jumping in. Super. Now, as normal, as always, with one of these workbooks, you have the place where you can write any thoughts to get them in. And at the end, we're going to do takeaways, actions, communications. But I want you to look at page 2, okay? The $1 million mixing desk. Now, this mixing desk, whether you've counted or not, there are 12 line items there, so you don't need to count them. What I'm going to do, I'm going to walk through the 12, and as I walk through the 12 first time, I want you to mark in where you are today. We're going to do the 2 phases. We're going to mark in where you are today, and then I want you to mark in where you want to be second. But let me go through them first, and as I'm going through them first, just mark in where you want to be. We'll go through all 12. I want you to mark in where you want to be, and then I'm going to give you time after that to go through and mark in where you want to be. Okay? So, at the top of this, it talks about expert or host. That is, are you the true expert and your business is revolving around you? Or are you the host where you want to bring other experts in and you're the guy who brings the knowledge into the room? Taki is very much at the expert end, but he does bring some friends in every now and again to some intensives. But pretty much most of what he does is up at the expert side. To give an example of a host, Dale Beaumont's a very good example of a host. He's built his business around bringing other experts into a room, and his books, his collaboration, etc. That's very much on the host side. Okay, so that gives you some examples. So where are you on the expert and host level? Make a mark on yours, or if you've got a piece of paper next to you, just draw this out on the scale. Okay, you can be, and it is a scale. It's not just that you have to be one or the other. Put yourself somewhere in the scale. You can be in the middle. You can be one side or the other, but it's what's right for you, remember. Next one, niche or generalist. You know, if you've done any work with me, you know in the early stages, I always recommend niche to be successful really quickly. But what are you today? Are you a generalist? You try and help every type of people out there? Do you say, I help small businesses between 500 and 5 million? That's the generalist column. Niche is, I'm the best in the world at helping chiropractors who have 3 people in the practice move from here to here. That's super niche, right? So where are you today? Next one, local or global. Local is either local to your city or town. You could also be local on a national level, or global, of course, is the rest of the world. So where are you today? Live or pre-recorded? Do you enjoy doing live stuff? Or would you rather actually pre-record things and drip them out when you're ready? What do you do today? Online or offline? Are you comfortable in the online space? Do you like being in there? Again, this is today. Where are you today? Online or offline? Use the scale. Community. Do you have a community today? Remember, it's not for your future, it's what you have today. And the community is, well, do you want to build a community? This is a later conversation. Taki very much focuses on the coaching context community from a stickiness factor. But this is all about you. Now, price. There's a low and high price. Is your offer today low? $50, $100 of something that you need to sell lots of? Or is it high priced, $5,000, $10,000? You may only have one price level today. What is it? We'll talk about, as I come back through here, we'll talk about different price points and how that can help you in future. But what are you today? Fixed or ongoing. So fixed or ongoing is more of it's a one-off price. It's $3,000 for this thing, or it's X amount a month or a quarter. Yeah. So that's fixed or recurring. One-on-one or group. How do you deliver today? Pretty self-explanatory, that one. So as an example, you can also have this on a scale. So Taki's recent evolution and adding Black Belt Boardroom as an offer which is designed for a much smaller group. So it's almost more towards the one-on-one because it's going to be smaller, hands-on with Taki, etc. And that's an evolution for Taki, right? The commitment month by month. Now what that scale is, do you lock people in for a 12-monther or a 1-monther or a 3-monther, or are you very much that they can pay for as long as they're getting value? This is personal preference. I really like the latter. The former is a lot more guaranteed for income, revenue, and also for done-for-you services, which we'll talk about in a minute. But if you have coaching or mastermind, etc., the latter being month by month really puts the onus on you as the delivery person to give great value to keep people in that space, right? Join anytime or intake. Intake is more of a launch, so once a year or once a quarter or only when I've got 20 people or something like that, that's an intake. Versus join anytime is that you've got it set up evergreen, that people can join your program or join you whenever they're ready and you're just continuing yours. So what have you got today? And then lastly, the done for me or training. Most coach businesses do training as in I'm teaching you what to do, now go and do it. And on the other scale is that we do it all for them. That's more the services business. Black Belt is a meld of these. So Black Belt is the done with you. It's more in the middle where you have the teaching, but then you have the templates. Yeah, so it gives a really nice hybrid of that to give an example for you. Running a services business like mine, it's a lot of it's done for you, but we have a blended approach because we like to work with people who are experts at what they do, so we want to get the knowledge out of their head. So it's not on the extreme part of the scale, it's more to the left. Okay, so now hopefully you're at a point where you've got yourself marked on each of these, yeah? Now let's run through it quickly again, and let's put it, remember, done is better than perfect. I don't need you to get a ruler out and pick a place, but going through it, revisiting the list. Where do you want to be? From where you are, put another mark on. Where do you want to be from an expert or host? Do you need to go more expert to position yourself, or do you think you could get more leverage by including more people into how you help your guys and girls? Niche and generalist, again, are you struggling with your marketing at the moment? If you are, then I'm going to suggest you start focusing more niche. And if you're doing really well and you're building a few niches, then you may want to start saying, hey, I could actually start moving to generalist and going into bigger markets. Local/national or global. This is depending on how you're leveraging yourself. Where do you want to be? You could even use the scale, by the way, and say 1 year, 2 years, and have a couple of extra points so you can give yourself a roadmap of where you're heading. Yeah, this is almost like a barometer for you for the next couple of years. This is where I really want to head. Live or pre-recorded? Do you want to get more live done? Are you getting tired of live? And you can reuse everything you've recorded already. Some examples. Online, offline. Are you taking advantage of online properly? Is your market online, yes or no? Maybe you're spending lots of time online and actually there's quite a big market on the offline space if you went there. Community. In a leverage program, are you looking to truly build a big community? Is it 10 people? Is it 100 people? Is it 1,000 people? What does that look like in your mind? What would it look like in 12 months or 24 months? Or have you got a community today and it's becoming a pain in the backside? Hold on, no, this isn't working. I wanted something like this, but now it's be careful what you ask for. You have it, so you'd rather go more to smaller groups and charge a premium price, which is a beautiful segue into price. Now, price points. Yes, you can have the 5,000 or 10,000 one-offs, which is nice. But when you have one-offs, which is one of the other points later, it means that you're continually having to market and continually having to sell. But in a price point as well, if you have lower price points, There are really clever strategies out there today that you may have heard the term tripwire, $7 something for people to just pull a credit card out. And then the next step could be a $37 something. Then the next step could be a $97 something. And the next step could be $200. And if you've got this worked out really well, all that money that you've just earned up till the $200 mark can be used to self-liquidate the marketing to get more and more leads into your business. And then the $500 upsell and then the big program upsells is revenue that's pure profit. Yeah, or when I say pure profit, more profit, because the marketing is being dealt with by the smaller products up the front end. So that's something to possibly add into the mix your side of how to keep having recurring income at different levels to sustain a growing business. Fixed versus ongoing, I've just talked about that. If you just have fixed, it's usually harder because then you just keep having to get more fixed, whereas ongoing allows you to build a steady stream of recurring revenue. But what's right for you? What do you want? That's just my opinion, my observations, right? One-on-one and group. You're probably doing a lot of one-on-one and you're probably aiming for group. Remember, the transition will be one-on-one, one to a few, one to many, and then none to many, as in you've productized yourself. But what is it that you're aiming for? And again, great idea would be the 1 and 2 year markers of where you want to be on that stage. The commitment month by month, purely a personal choice your side. Join anytime intake. Again, the join anytime, for me, why I would like that is because it's a lot more evergreen. So you can build your authority and people will just continually funnel into things, whereas you don't have to wait. Though, the intakes can be very good for big paychecks. So people can have $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 paydays on those type of intakes. You just then need to manage your cash for the rest until the next intake, yeah? And then the done-for-me training. There is a lot of people out there who want the done-for-me, but then there's a lot of people out there who want the done-for-me and are not willing to pay for it, okay? So just be careful what you want to do, but again, it's right for your market. What your market ripe for, ripe, not right, ripe for, that you can help them with, that you have the skills in. Again, finding your strengths and being able to deliver. So that's the $1 Million Mixing Desk. I know it's a 10-minute tactic, but I wanted to do it with you guys, so we've just taken a little bit of time to go through each one. I've got a couple of questions in the box. I'll come to them in a minute, all right? But the key thing for me, for you guys, is that we've worked through that. And let's jump back to here. Let me ask you, so we've gone through the model today, and we've gone through what you want it to be, okay? The front page of the workbook, you can make some notes of what you want to take away for this, okay? But do me a favor, share with me what's your key takeaways out of what you've just learned. Takeaways to learn, notice, or share. What are they? Share them in the question box for me. Would love to hear. And then any outstanding questions you've got, we'll take that into the coaching. You can ask the questions. I'll answer them from there for you. I'm just going to take 10 seconds and grab my cup of tea while you're typing into the question box for me. All right, cup of tea in hand. I am good. Now let's have a look at your insights. What have you guys? John, helping me shape my leverage program in my head. It's getting clearer. Fantastic. Good job, John. Well done. That's the whole point of this. Tamara, clarity that we're on the right path. Super. Good job. Paula, takeaway. Actually doing pretty well with my mix. Only a few items to move in a different direction. That's fantastic, Paula. Great. That's a great sanity check to just, like, the barometer was a good analogy, I guess, to make sure you're in the right place. That's great. Sharon, can be different at different stages of work and for different products. Yes, you can. Yeah, that's, yes, and Ultimately, though, this just needs to be right for you. Never mind products or clients, it's just all about what you want. That's the key that I'd love you to take away from it, for me, for you, okay? Neil, creating low-ticket items to establish initial interaction and funding. Yes, yes, indeed, Neil. Well done, good insight. Michelle, need to get clearer on the leverage program I'm going to start offering so I can start offering it. Yeah. Another insight to share, Michelle, will be don't spend months trying to guess at it. Just pick something and go, and you'll either love it or you won't, and you'll learn by actually doing. Yeah, so don't take too long to decide this. Pauline, good model shows me where I need to move to. Some places have huge movement, others as good as they are. Cool, great stuff. Rich says, can you have a program that works in multiple niches, so start with specific marketing and perhaps multiple niche marketing streams, but one group delivery? Yes, you can. Yeah, you can. So let's say, as an example, you're doing the health, so doctors and chiropractors and pediatricians and podiatrists and all those. Well, every one I just said, the 4 different ones, would have very specific marketing for each one. But you can very easily have a practice management program because all of them would have practices. So as long as the delivery portion of your program has the same name that they would resonate with, you're good.